Hello and welcome to Developers Heaven. Today in this video we are going to look at writing unit tests in Python using PyTest. So I'm using PyCharm in this for my tutorial, but you can use any IDE of your choice. You can use PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, or Visual Studio, or any other IDEs you may like. So to get started writing tests in PyTest, we have to install some packages. The first one is open your Python terminal or command prompt and do pip install PyTest. This is the basic module for writing unit tests, and then we need PyTest mock, which is used for mocking the objects. I will actually show you why and how we should mock those objects when we get there. And then coverage. So this coverage is used to see the coverage report, how many functions or how many lines of code we have covered, or if there are anything we have missed out. There will be a nice GUI to show you that coverage. We will get there. And when I install this, these are already installed in my machine, so it didn't take any time, but in your case it might take a minute or two. Now that the package is installed, we can start writing our unit test. So before we can write unit tests, I need to create a piece of code to test that one. I will start with a very basic one, main.py, and in this main.py I will add a simple function add, which will take two arguments, number one and number two. What all this function does is it will just return the sum of number one plus number two. So I've got this basic function here. So I want to test it myself if this is working as expected. So let's add a print command, print add, number one will be two, number two will be three, and run this Python file. So I'll use Python main.py. So the output is 5. I will test one more set of numbers. Let's make the numbers 5 and 6 this time. And when I run this, for the first one it is 5, which is correct. For the second one, where the numbers are 5 and 6, it's 11. This is correct. So I have actually checked this manually, but writing unit tests is a way where we can test that automatically or programmatically. For us, it's a kind of automation, we can say. So in order to do that one, I will create another file. So the way PyTest works is, for PyTest to interpret that there are tests in this file, there is some naming convention we need to follow. That naming convention is every test file should start with test underscore. Only then the PyTest will recognize them as test files and run those tests for you. So it will be test underscore. Because I'm testing the main file, I will just use main, test underscore main.py. The first thing we want to do in this one is import the PyTest module like this. And what are we testing? I'm testing the add function in the main Python file. I need to import that here. So from main import add. And I will create a function here, def. Again, the test functions should also start with test underscore. So def test underscore, what am I testing here? Add. That will be my function. So I have to call the add function here. Add, my number one is 2 and my number one is 3. So I know this function will return a value of 5. So I need to check that one. I have to assert that. So in order to assert that, we need to go here before the function call and then use a assert, assert add. So this assertion will expect two values, the actual value and the expected value. The actual value is what is returned by the function, the actual functionality. The expected value is what I am expecting. So in my case, I'm expecting 5 here, so I can do is equal to 5. That's it. Let's run this test file now. So in order to run this test file, we can't use Python now. We have to use PyTest. PyTest test underscore main. Test underscore main dot py. So one test has passed. If I set this expected value to be 6, just for example, let's see what happens. Then my test will fail and it is saying assert 5 is not is equal to 6. So it is saying 5 is equal to 6 is failed. So the assertion has failed. So where it failed, it will show where it failed. 5 is equal to add 2 comma 3, and then I put it back to 5. This will pass. And if you want to give some description to your test what they are doing, then you can do so by adding a comma here and then writing a string. Here I will say, for example, adding 2 and 3 should be 5. Adding 2 and 3 should be 5. It passed. And it is a good idea that you test more than one case. Even for positive scenarios, it is a good idea. The reason why I'm saying it's a good idea is, for example, in this one, for my testing purposes, I've just changed this to 2 and 3 hard coded, and I forgot to put it back. So you might argue it is not possible, but imagine there is a worst case where we forgot to put it back. So if I run this test file here, this will pass because the numbers I'm passing here, 2 and 3, and the numbers that are hard coded, the 2 and 3 match. But if I write another test, for example, this time I'm sending 4 and 5, I'm expecting my output to be 9. So adding 4 and 5 should be 9. So if I run this one, this will obviously fail because 4 and 5 should be 9 has failed. Why? The function has written 5, that's the actual value. 9 is the expected value. Then we found a bug here. So this is the reason why I said it's a good idea to write more than one case. But it's up to you how you follow and how your organization rules allow you to do so. So I can add multiple tests here, like I can add hundreds of them. So if I want to add like 10 tests, then what I have to do is I have to copy and paste this code and duplicate those so many times. But can I do it any better? Yes, there is a better way to do that, and that is called a parameterized testing. So in order to do a parameterized testing, we need to use pytest.mark.parameterize. So this parameterize, it will take the arguments name. So my arguments are number 1, number 2, and I can pass in an array of arguments here. So my arguments will be 2 and 3, and then my second argument will be 4 and 5. My third argument will be, let's say, 10 and 12. And here we can write the function def test underscore add underscore parameterize, or I will just say parameterized here. Parameterize. So whatever the parameters we set here, that is exact order here, and that is exact order here. So you have to be careful when doing this parameterized testing to make sure that you are doing it the right way. So number 1, number 2 function, and I will do assert add, passing just those parameters, number 1 and number 2 is equal to, what is my expected value here? Oh no, I don't have the expected value here. So what I can do is I have to pass in the expected parameter as well here. And for 2 and 3, my expected value is 5, and 4 and 5, my expected value is 9, and here it will be 22. And you know the drill, and we have to get the expected value here. Then this is equal to expected. So let's see what happens here if we run this test file now. When I do this one, 4 passed. If you see, I only have one test here and second test here, but it said 4 passed. because each of this parameterized value is considered as one test. So this is worth three tests and this is worth one test. So that there are four tests in total. If I make a mistake here, my expected value to be 24, then this will fail. 22 is not is equal to 24. And similar to how we set the message here, if you want to set the message here as well, then think about it, how you can do that. Take a couple of seconds and think about how you can do that. You're right. You have to pass in the message here. You have to pass in the message here, message here, message here, and expect the message here, and you can set that comma message here. So I'm not writing that all here just to keep this video short and simple, but that's how it works. So congratulations, you have learned writing the basic unit test. In my next video, we'll see how we can use fixtures. Thanks for watching.